Hi and welcome to the latest edition in the Guitar Beasts series. Today I want to introduce you to the
Fender Classic Series.
I consider these to be a bit of a diamond in the rough. I'm a very big fan of budget guitars. I believe you don't need to spend thousands and thousands of dollars, pounds, euros, whatever your currency is, on a guitar to get a guitar that is a good player, a good sounding instrument, and an all-round beast of a music maker. Now, I am going to come right out. I'm a fan of the Fender brand. From the start, I've always found the Stratocaster to be it was so ahead of its time. If you think back to when these guitars first came onto the market in the 50s, imagine being there when, to that point, you'd known these kind of arch top sort of acoustic guitars that had pickups put on them, traditional looking instruments, and then suddenly this space age looking axe comes onto the scene. It's got its super spacey curves and beautiful body hogging design, and I love the headstock. It looks like the headstock of a violin, but created as part of this instrument that just gave birth to this whole world of rock and roll. I'm a through and through Strat fan, so there we go. That's conflicts of interest put out there. Fender Mexico. The Mexican Fender factory has been putting out instruments for decades. Back in the 90s, when I started out playing guitar, the Mexican-built Fender guitars were considered inferior to the American-built ones. And there's definitely still a certain snobbery surrounding that issue. But over the decades, there has been the advent of CNC factory production, where the ability to produce body shapes and cutting wood in a very standardized fashion has just come to the fore. So you're not relying so much on individual quality control of individual instruments in that respect. So you get these beautifully shaped bodies are coming out of the factories. And as seems to be standard on vintage correct instruments, there's usually a 57 version and a 62 version. Because the specs changed in between 1957 and 1962. You can generally tell them apart from the pick guard. The 57 instruments usually have a single ply pick guard, which just means it has one thin sheet of plastic, and the 62 correct instruments have a 3-ply pick guard, which you can tell from it's usually white, black, white, 3 layers of plastic. This particular guitar is a 2010 Fender Mexico Strat, and as such it is absolutely, in my opinion, vintage correct. It has a beautiful slim neck, absolutely playable, very tasty Alnico pickups, the standard Fender stamped bent steel saddles, and these lovely drop-in vintage tuners. And I absolutely adore the paint job on this one. This is obviously Fiesta Red, and it has already aged somewhat over the years to this slightly kind of shell pinky kind of color, which is what I love about the sort of old Fiesta Reds. I mean, if I actually just happen to have a Squire here with Fiesta Red paint job, and you can probably, if I hold them next to each other, you can see the difference. This is a much brighter, darker red. It hasn't really aged, whereas this has got this lovely sort of slightly pinky orangey hue to it, which I think also gives it a lovely vintage vibe. And if you listen to the guitars, they are just got that really depth of tone. On the neck pickup, you've got that quacky kind of. The in-between pickups. And then the bridge. And that full-bodied, throaty kind of neck pickup sound, and the neck all the way to the top is just playable. So I think one thing that is really important is to be aware that you could be paying $700-800 for a brand new Mexican built, or you could be paying over $1,000 for an American built Fender Stratocaster, and there is going to be a very minimal difference in the quality and playability of the instrument, if at all. So you don't always need to go for the top-end, top-price instruments to get a really great instrument. And the other thing that's worth looking at is the vintage market or the second-hand market. So I picked this guitar up for $300 several years ago, and it is in perfect condition, and it sounds amazing, and it plays amazing. And you know, if you look around, if you know what you're looking for, if you do a bit of research, you can absolutely find great instruments at budget prices. You know, $300, that's less than the cost of a brand new Squier in many cases. So definitely, you know, do your research, look around, try out instruments. Also, it's always worth playing an instrument before you buy it, because you're going to find out whether it suits you, suits your playing style. If it's, occasionally factories put out lemons that just don't sit together. Recently, I parted company with a 1989 American-built Fender Stratocaster, which is not comparable with this instrument in any way. It was chunky, the neck was not fun to play, it was not a nice instrument. It sounded good, but the guitar needs to have all of these things. It needs to tick all the boxes. It needs to, you put your hands on it and your fingers start to move. On the label, a late 80s American built Strat should be a tasty instrument, but for some reason it wasn't, and so for $300 I have an instrument here that is twice the player that the other one. So do your research and check it out. So I'm just gonna put this guitar through its paces a little, but first a little word from our sponsors. I have been developing some guitar effects pedals under the brand 4D pedals, and this is one of them. This is the 4D Blues Overdrive, and we also have a Red Star distortion and a Black Star fuzz, which are currently available to buy at 4dpedals.com, and they are single volume control distortion pedals, and the concept is you don't need to have a tone control and a gain control. when you're used to using the controls on your guitar. So just to give you a little example, so we're on the neck pickup, okay? If we turn on the overdrive, change the tone by changing the pickup. Turn the tone down again, neck pickup, trebly, and then the classic trick, which took me years to find out, to roll the gain off when you have a distortion pedal on, you just turn down the volume control on your guitar slightly, and then you get less gain. And then you turn the volume up again. Turn it down. Trebly. Turn the volume up, more gain. So check out the pedals and let's see what this sounds like in a track. So that gives you a little bit of an idea, anyway, of the guitar, its specs, its sound, how you can mess around with the tone, and hopefully gives you a little bit of inspiration to search around when you're buying for guitars. Look around. Don't just take whatever the marketing agency is throwing at you. You know, look around on the used market. Look around for bargains. Look around for an instrument that fits you, and you can really find a diamond in the rough when you do your research. So thanks for watching, and be sure to subscribe and all that stuff. See you next time. God save the king and fight everything.